Can you have a dream vacation in San Juan, Puerto Rico on a budget? More specifically, a budget of $500 or less. That is the question that I set out to answer with this vlog. Hi, my name is Andrew Lindsay, and I show travelers how to save money on their travel, how to improve their travel experience, and how to live a healthier and happier lifestyle. And today I want to share with you guys my experience traveling to San Juan, Puerto Rico, with the goal of showing you guys whether or not you could travel to San Juan and have a dream vacation on a budget. But did I achieve this goal? Did I have a dream vacation in San Juan without exceeding a $500 budget? Is it possible to have a dream vacation in San Juan on a $500 budget? That is the question that I'm going to be answering in this vlog today. So why San Juan? Well, mainly because the flights are affordable, it's a relatively safe place to travel to, and it's absolutely rich in history and has such beautiful scenery and scenic views and beautiful beaches. Not to mention, San Juan is one of the destinations that I have on my free resource, the Ultimate Budget Travel Guide. And if you want to pick up this free resource, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of this video. I planned this entire trip with this free resource, and I created this free resource so that way you would have access to dream destinations as well as all the resources that you need to plan your entire trip all in one place, all at your fingertips, so that way you could save time, save money, and not to mention, this is an ever-growing resource, and if you choose to get it, I will send out an email anytime that I update it, so that way you can download the updated version. So if you want to pick that up, you can do so by clicking the link in the description. Now, for this trip, I booked a budget airline, Spirit to be exact, and I only brought a backpack with the essentials that I needed, and I stayed for 4 days. Now, normally I would stay for 5 days, but 4 days just happened to work better with my schedule. Now, this was my very first trip to San Juan, and for this trip, I booked a hostel for 4 days for $80, and I booked a round trip flight for $180. Now, when I booked this hostel, I also got an email letting me know that I got half off on a rainforest tour, and so I spent another $50 on a rainforest tour while I was on my trip. So at this point in the trip, between a flight, a hostel, and a rainforest tour, I have spent $310, leaving me with $190 left, leaving me well within my budget of $500 for this trip. Now, let's get on to the trip itself. So the day for my trip finally arrives, and I get on my first flight from Nashville to Orlando. I chose to pass the time with one of my very favorite pastimes, which is war movies and documentaries. And this time, the movie of my choice was All Quiet on the Western Front, a phenomenal movie about World War I. Highly recommend it, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart, so just be aware if you decide you want to watch it. Anyway, after an hour and a half, I landed in Orlando and shortly after got on my flight to San Juan. After a few hours, I finally land in San Juan, and all I can think about is how I'm going to make memories and have an amazing vacation in San Juan, or so I thought. This is where things take a turn for the worse. They get better later, but bear with me as I share with you what happened. As soon as I land, I get a text message from the tour company, for the Rainforest Tour Company, letting me know that the tour is full and that I was either gonna have to reschedule or cancel and get a refund. No big deal, I just text them back and let them know that I would like to reschedule. As I'm waiting for a reply, I take a taxi to the hostel that I'm staying at, and I arrive at 10:30 p.m. I had originally envisioned in my head that staying in a hostel was going to be an experience where I met a lot of other really cool travelers and had a great experience and did a lot of fun stuff and just met some cool new people. And unfortunately, the hostel was not what I envisioned at all. It appeared to have people who were living in it more so than traveling, and it was just sketchy. My roommates were foreign and barely spoke any English, so that didn't help. And on top of that, this hostel was supposed to have a place for me to store my stuff safely, and unfortunately it did not, at least not without me bringing a padlock. And this place was just sketchy. I don't recommend it for a solo female traveler especially, and this place was called Hostel H1. I ultimately decided to find somewhere else to stay and Ubered to another hotel, and unfortunately this hotel was booked, and so I wasn't able to stay there. And at this point, I still hadn't heard back from the Rainforest Tour Company, so I was honestly starting to get discouraged. I was starting to wonder if this trip was gonna turn out well, I was starting to wonder if it was just gonna be a big waste of money, but then a positive turn happened. I found a hotel that was reasonably priced called the Canario Boutique Hotel, and this hotel was right next to a 24/7 Walgreens, CVS store, some restaurants, and the beach. Literally everything I needed all in one place. Things at this point were starting to look up. At this point, it was about midnight and I was absolutely starving. There weren't that many restaurants available, and so because of that, unfortunately, instead of getting some authentic Puerto Rican food and a pina colada like I wanted, I had to get some Japanese food. And the restaurant that I went to was a restaurant called Taizan. I lucked out because Taizan was actually a super nice restaurant with some really good food, and if you're wanting some good Japanese food while you're in Puerto Rico, I highly recommend going to Taizan. I got some fried rice, which isn't normally my first option because I like to eat healthy and I like to stay fit and stay lean, but you know what? It was like the cheapest thing on the menu, and remember, we're on a budget of $500, so we're trying to get good food that is on a budget. Afterwards, I stopped by the beach to relax after a rough night, and then I hit up Walgreens to get some water and then headed back to my hotel where I prepared for the next day. So I am finally back in my hotel room and ready to lay down and go to bed. Today has been a long day. I just went and got some dinner, just went to the beach and checked it out. It's actually just up the street, but it's nighttime, so I wasn't able to really take any footage because you wouldn't have really been able to see anything. But today's just been a long day, but the next few days are going to be a blast, and I need to get rested up for the rest of this trip. So I'm gonna do that, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Moving on to the next day, I decided to check out because the hotel literally doubled in price for the rest of my stay, so I needed to find somewhere new to stay. At this point, I was concerned that I was going to end up in another hostel that I wasn't happy with, so I decided to go the more expensive route and get another hotel. I found a hotel that was decently nice, got some decent reviews, called Placid Suites, and locked in my reservation, and I was ready to go. However, checkout time at my current hotel was 11 a.m. and check-in time at my new hotel was 3 p.m. So I had 4 hours to kill and needed to find something to do with that time. So I decided that I was going to tackle the first big objective of this entire vacation, which was Paseo del Morro National Park. And this was where my trip really began. I hit up CVS one last time to get some essentials like sunscreen, and then I Ubered over to Paseo del Morro National Park. So we just got to the Puerto Rico San Juan National Historic Site. I'm about to take a bunch of pictures. I'm about to take some videos with my camera. So we're gonna get some nice footage and some nice pictures for you guys for this vlog. So I'm pretty pumped about that. This place is absolutely beautiful. It's packed. There's so many people. I mean, you guys are gonna see for yourselves when I show you the footage and the videos and the pictures. This is just awesome. I can't believe how beautiful this place is. It's incredible. And it's super nice here during the winter time, like super comfortable. It is so peaceful out here. This place is amazing. My hair is doing some wild stuff because the wind is crazy out here, but man, I love it here. This place is absolutely beautiful. You got people flying kites back here. I don't know if you can see that. I'll stop for a second. You got people flying kites back here. You got the beautiful ocean in the background. You got these beautiful, cool, unique colored buildings in the background. It's just awesome out here. It's an incredible vacation. I'm happy I came. This place provides stunning coastal views, an open, wide area with so much space to do whatever you want, and is just an absolutely breathtaking scenic location. And on top of that, it has some absolutely beautiful beaches. The best part about this location is that it is completely and totally free, but if you want to check out the primary attraction, El Morro, it is $10, and I highly recommend that you do because it is so worth the $10. El Morro acted as a military outpost for Spain and the US, but now greets cruise ships as they approach the coast and acts as a popular tourist location. El Morro has so much history and amazing views and gives you picturesque scenery of the ocean and high up views of the park and the city. Plus, the day was absolutely perfect to come here. The sky was mostly clear with just enough clouds to decorate underrate it, and it gave me the perfect opportunity to get some great scenic photos and footage. I spent half my day checking out everything this place had to offer, and it had a lot. There were different trails to check out around the fort, including one that leads you all the way to the cemetery, one that leads you to some rocky terrain with beautiful views of the ocean and a suspicious hut overlooking the ocean, and a path that goes all the way around the fort and circles back into the city. This place really is an incredible and magical location. However, these hikes are not for someone who gets really hot, burns easy, or doesn't have a lot of stamina. I was carrying around my bag the whole time with the sun beating down on me, and I was getting wore out.
Okay, I have been walking around this fort for a while. It is quite a long walk. Definitely not for the people who get winded off of long walks, and definitely not for people who burn easy, because I've been standing in the sun, getting cooked for a minute, reapplying sunscreen constantly. As you can see, I pretty much walked this whole way. I mean, all around the fort, and I'm still walking. I actually took my hoodie and I threw it over my arm to prevent my right arm from getting as burnt, because the sun is on the right side of my body. Whew. This is tiring, and I'm definitely burning my calories for the day. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, just to let you guys know, if you guys ever go to Puerto Rico and you walk around this fort, just know it's a long walk. And if you're pale or you burn easy, you're gonna want to do this later and bring lots of sunscreen.
While walking the long path around the fort, I came across multiple iguanas and wildcats, including one that let me pet her. The path going around the fort led back into the city into this awesome fountain that I was wanting to see before the trip was over. After the fountain, I passed by the Plaza de la Princess and got a couple photos. They sure do love their statues here. As much as I was loving all the great scenery, at this point I was getting hungry and hot, so it was time to cool down, get a drink, and find some food. I decided I was going to eat at a restaurant called Cape El Punto. Unfortunately, the restaurant wasn't open yet, so I decided to kill some time checking out some shops and exploring old San Juan. The first one I checked out had these really cool hats and free pina colada samples, and the second shop I went to had all locally made goodies and treats. And of course, I got some footage of downtown San Juan before heading back to Cape El Punto to order some local cuisine. I ordered the famous local dish mofongo and got it with chicken, rice, and beans. And to top it off, I treated myself to a nice cold pina colada with rum after my tiring walk throughout the day. From there, I explored a little bit more of Old San Juan before returning to the national park to enjoy a one-of-a-kind sunset while laying in the grass as the air blew over me. The sound of kids and pets playing echoed in the distance, and all my worries faded away. Definitely a magical moment. Yo, what is going on, guys? I wanted to do a quick little video. I am nearing the end of my first big day in Puerto Rico. The sun is setting, and I am currently chilling up on the hill by the national park with the fort here in Puerto Rico. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just look it up online, the fort, Puerto Rico. I forget what it's called, but the sun is setting right now and it's just beautiful. And I just wanted to do a quick video for my vlog and just talk about how the day's gone, man. It's been an amazing day. It's been an exhausting day, but I spent most of my day walking around at this fort, checking it out, some beautiful history, some amazing people that I've had the opportunity to meet on the trip, some very beautiful sights, and the beach is gorgeous. I just ate. I'm full now. I went almost the whole day without eating, so I was exhausted, but it's been great. I love Puerto Rico. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time. The people are really nice. I'm having to adjust because, you know, this is the first time I've ever been somewhere where a lot of the people didn't speak English, and so communication's been a unique challenge for me. And I'm currently getting surrounded by crows. Accidentally hit the power button. So I'm currently being surrounded by crows right now. Just literally a bunch of them. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. We've also got some, I think, pigeons. So yeah.
Here are those crows I was talking about that are just surrounding me. They literally got like, I don't know, a foot away from me and were staring at me a second ago. It was scary. I thought I was gonna get ganged up on by a bunch of crows. Like I was in their territory. Oh, yeah, like that. Just like that.
Then I concluded my night by Ubering back to the hotel, picked up some groceries, and got ready for the next day.
This is my last hotel room for the night, or for the stay, for the rest of the stay. You know, nothing super fancy, but bathroom's kind of big though. Look, bathroom's kind of big.
The next day I got picked up by the shuttle at about 7:50 a.m. for the rainforest tour, and we started on our way to El Yunque for the tour. El Yunque National Rainforest is the sole tropical rainforest in the U.S. National Forest System, and it's relatively small for a rainforest, with its size being 28,516 acres. The trip took about an hour, and once we got there, they gave us our life jackets and told us to leave anything we didn't want to get wet in the car, so I knew this was going to be a wild hike. They had warned us ahead of time this hike was going to be tough, and you should be in shape to pull it off, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but I was ready. As we start the hike, the trail got progressively more challenging with extremely slick mud, lots of deep puddles, and jagged rocks. There were even a few sketchy spots where I was worried someone might get hurt, but fortunately the hike went great. Almost nobody slipped. It took us about 20 to 30 minutes before we arrived at a swimming area with some falls where other guests had arrived before us, and it was so worth it. We arrived to a small but beautiful swimming area that was filled with tons of greenery and trees towering over the dark blue water at the bottom. The views were stunning, the weather was perfect, the water was clean, and this was only the start. The guide told us we were getting ready to climb and go down some natural water slides and to leave any phones or anything else we didn't want submerged in water behind. This part of the hike was a bit more sketchy. We climbed to the upper portion of the falls, climbing over slick rocks to get there, but once we arrived at the top, we took turns going down these natural water slides where the water had smoothed out the rock over time. This was an awesome experience, and then we began to make our way back down. After another challenging trip back down, we arrived back at the swimming area where we all jumped off from a short cliff into the water. At this point, we all started getting ready to leave, but not before the sun came out and lit up the whole area. This was the most breathtaking view of the whole experience, bringing light to the greenery around the swimming area, making it glow, and rays of light extending through the rainforest. This, to me, was the best part of the hike. From there, we went back, got into the shuttle, and stopped to eat at a place called Fruteira Flores. The food was delicious, and you know we were all starving at this point. We stuffed our faces, got back into the shuttle, and the driver returned us all back to our hotels. At this point, I took a little time to relax, charged my phone, and spent my final night in Puerto Rico hanging out at the beach, taking in the gorgeous views of the ocean, the sound of waves sweeping onto the sand, and the smell of ocean water as I laid down on the sand to be completely at peace. I then went back to my hotel, rested up, and returned to the airport and flew home. And that concludes my trip in San Juan. So was I able to keep this trip under the budget or at the budget of $500? The answer to that question is no. However, I could have, and you can too, and let me explain why. When I had originally booked this trip, I had booked a flight, a hostel, and a rainforest tour, all for $310, leaving me with $190 for my activities, for my Ubers, for anything else that I needed on my trip. However, I did not like my hostel, and I decided to get a hotel instead of taking my chances with another hostel so I could avoid any more bad experiences. My total cost in hotels for 4 days was $305. Between that, my flight, and my rainforest tour, I had already exceeded my budget of $500. Not to mention, I did not get a refund on the hostel for the $80, and that doesn't include my food and anything else, Ubers, anything else I did while I was on my trip. But what if I stayed in the hostel? The flight, the hostel, and the rainforest tour cost me a total of $310. But when I totaled up the cost of additional activities, Ubers, taxis, food, etc., it came out at a total of $193, which put me at $503, still exceeding my $500 budget. That being said, I do not recommend this hostel, and to me, this hostel did not fit my context of a dream vacation, so I would not have stayed here. If I had to do it all over again, I would have actually booked the highest rated hostel in San Juan, which was called Mango Mansion. Mango Mansion is $45 a night, and it's also in a pretty good part of town because it was in the same part of town that my hotel was, that I stayed in my last couple nights. And on top of that, it was really close to a 24/7 grocery store. This hostel for 4 days would have cost me a total of $180 plus tax, so it would have probably averaged out at around $200. And that on top of everything else that I spent would have come out at a total of $610 $124, which would have been much better than what I spent, but still would have exceeded my $500 budget. So here is my final conclusion. Can you go on a dream vacation to San Juan, Puerto Rico on a budget of $500 or less? And the answer to that question is yes, but you're going to have to book a cheap hostel or book an Airbnb or a hotel and split it with a friend. If you're doing this as a solo vacation, you're going to most likely have to get a hostel, and at that point you're still going to have to penny pinch and be really tight and be really frugal on, you know, all your extra spending, so that way you can keep it on a budget of $500 or less. So personally, a dream vacation for me does not mean staying somewhere that I'm uncomfortable, even though it's cheap. But for you, you may have been cool with that hostel. Some people were, because it got some really good reviews, but I wasn't. The only other option is maybe bringing multiple people and splitting a hotel or an Airbnb. And that's assuming that you get a good flight deal. And of course, you don't have to get the rainforest tour like I did, and I could have been more frugal as far as spending money on going out to eat. But even though this trip wasn't meant to be expensive, it also wasn't about just landing in San Juan and not doing anything. This was about having a dream vacation on a budget. So I suggest setting your budget a little bit closer to $600 to $700, so that way you have a little bit more flexibility with your money, and that way you don't have to stress as hard about, you know, spending too much. You can actually stay somewhere nice, you can still have a good experience, and you know, you won't have to worry as much about money. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was my very first travel vlog, and this was a huge learning experience for me, and I'm really just trying to figure out the best way to do these travel vlogs. So please let me know what you liked best about this video in the comments. Let me know, you know, what I could maybe do better on the next one, how I could improve, because I just want to, you know, do the best that I can at these travel vlogs, and I want to bring you guys so much more, and I want to make sure that you guys gain a lot of value from it, and I hope that you gained a lot of value from this video. Now, real quick, before the video comes to an end, I wanted to mention one more time my free resource, the Ultimate Budget Travel Guide. I created this free resource so that way you guys could have a dream vacation on a budget and have a list of a bunch of different dream vacation destinations, as well as all the resources that you needed, all in one place, so that way you can save time, save money, and have this all at your fingertips. And this is the same resource that I use to book and plan my trip outside of the rainforest tour, because that actually dropped in my email. I wasn't planning that originally when I booked this trip. It just kind of fell in my lap when they emailed me. But if you guys would like to know what tour company that was that I went with, I'll also leave a link to that company in the description of this video. So if you guys want to book a tour, I highly recommend them. It was great. They were great. It was a great experience. So again, if you liked the video, drop a like on the video. Let me know what you liked best about this video and how I can improve the next one. And of course, share this with your friends, because that helps me and that helps any of your friends who are wanting to have a dream vacation to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.